All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Greetings from beautiful Sydney, Australia. Very beautiful. If you haven't been here, we definitely recommend. We will go ahead and get started with questions unless you have anything you want to say at the outset, Cheryl.
No, let's fire away.
All right, Alexa, why don't you go ahead and get started?
Hey Cheryl, how was the first few days in Sydney? First of all, getting settled in.
Yeah, the travel was really smooth, and players did a great job getting some rest on the flight, and so we kind of hit the ground running, so to speak. And we got right to work with a practice, and then the second day, which was yesterday, we had a chance to participate in a scrimmage, which was really valuable for us. So first couple of days, so far running smoothly.
Gotcha. And just one more for me. I was just curious if you could speak to what kind of void, basketball wise, but also just emotionally, it's been to kind of go about this process and prepare for a huge international competition without BG there. She's been, stalwart for USAB for so many years.
Yeah, she really has, and that's something our players have dealt with the entirety of the season, since she's been detained, and so no question she's on our minds daily, and we'll honor her. No one will wear 15, so just finding ways to kind of continue to make sure she knows that she's being thought of, and our players are thinking of her daily.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Annie, go ahead.
Hey Cheryl, curious about Ka and how she's doing, and how coaching her is you're seeing different things than coaching against her.
Yeah, you always get to see more when you're in the trenches with them. So I've been really pleased with Ka. We've only had one other camp, and that was not since that was under Dawn, but I had a chance to be there for it, and so her first camp was a little bit where, a little more nervous, that sort of thing. And I thought that she came over here ready to go and has been a really good leader, has, I think, really improved as a basketball player in terms of things that we want to be able to do. When you're playing with Emma Miesemann and Candace Parker, you've got to be able to move and cut. And that's clearly something you've seen them do for a couple of years now. So obviously this year with Emma, but I think the way that she's approaching it with confidence and with leadership is exactly what we needed.
Yeah, and just one more follow up to that point. Obviously it was a couple years ago that, you were with her in camp, but what kind of leadership have you seen from her? What kind of mental growth have you seen from her just in this short time that you've spent with her?
Well, I think it's the confidence part. When you're doing something for the first time, which is what it was, I think it was 2019. Mm-hmm. And now just even for her team. So when you have a bigger responsibility on your own team, it builds a level of confidence. She knows that she belongs. And that's how she came here. It's really what we needed in terms of, there's been some spaces available to step into in terms of leadership as the team has changed quite a bit. 7 players from the Olympic team are not here. And so obviously we know, one of the leaders of the team would be Chelsea Gray. She's not here. So there's really available space to step into. And I think it's just been 2 days with Ka, but she's been able to do that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Jen, go ahead.
Hey, Cheryl, thanks for doing this.
Sure.
Just to start, I'm curious kind of how you've seen Ariel Atkins develop as a USAB player in particular, kind of what you see her role is as this time around.
Yeah, that's another one. Having done it, her first Olympics this last go around, I think she learned a lot. But she too has taken on more for her Mystics team. And so just the evolution of growth for players as they get more mature, as their years advance and mature as basketball players. I mean, and I think here at USA Basketball, particularly because we don't have true point guards here, Ariel has really stepped in for us and has helped us navigate being without, say a Chelsea Gray. And so she's willingly doing that. It sacrifices her game a little bit. But from a long-term perspective, what she was able to do for us to kind of help us guide us through this to prepare the team, for that final roster, I think is going to be really, really valuable. It's going to help her game in the long run.
And then last thing for me, just wanted to ask about the other Mystics player, Shakira Austin. What do you like about her, and do you see her kind of filling a similar role that she did in DC in terms of like doing the small stuff, not getting plays run for her, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. And that's why she's able to excel here, is that, you know, she's used to doing this. And obviously your first season, you've got a great team and you've got a great coaching staff. So she's kind of ahead of the game a little bit in terms of a first year player. She knows what she does and she does those things well. So I've really appreciated our time with Kira, and you know, she'll only continue to get better.
All right, Megan.
Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Great to have you here. Welcome. I was wondering how you're dealing with getting your team ready in Sydney and communicating with your players who are currently in WNBA finals.
Yeah, there's no communication with those players in the finals. And that's absolutely how it should be. Everyone sort of knows, you know, those that are in the pool or candidates to be on the final roster. Everyone knows what lies ahead. And we think it's really important that they focus on what they're doing and accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. And when that's over, you know, when the confetti falls, then we'll be in touch and we'll start to get them up to speed.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Got two more quick ones and then we'll move on to, go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Cheryl, appreciate the time as always. Just how would you evaluate Aaliyah's play in camp and what it's been like to coach her, and what are some expectations you might have for her, you know, if she does make that final roster and you get to see her in live game action?
Yeah. You know, that's a player I didn't know a whole lot about other than watching in college. It is a massive jump to go from, you know, being a college player and then to jump into this thing with some of the WNBA's best players. And it's a different game as well, different terminology. You know, there's quite an uphill battle for a college player to come into this environment and find success. And to Aaliyah's credit, she's done that. I had heard a great deal about how intelligent of a player Aaliyah is, and I have really enjoyed challenging her and her eagerness to kind of want the next challenge. And you know, as we're working through some of the offenses, I'll say, do this, and she kind of enjoys that, solving that puzzle, and so she's not wilted in any way. You know, that you know, the Japan opponent is probably one of the most difficult opponents for a big to play against, because there's 3-point shooters and there's speed at the guard spot, and so I thought she you know, she's also a mature player, mature person, and you know, if she makes the roster, you know, like her or Kira or, you know, whoever makes the final roster, you know, it's obviously in a role that would be supporting, and you know, we'll have to continue to learn more about them. We're still pretty far from that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, the last one will be for Howard because we have Ka standing by. So if you want to raise your hands for her, that will be great. Go ahead, Howard, and then we'll switch out.
Appreciate it. Cheryl, thank you for the time.
Howard, thank you for filling in on the Cheryl Reeve show. Sure appreciate you. You're the best.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I did want to ask, I don't know if you'd had a chance with everything going on here to see the results of the investigation with Robert Sarver, if you had any initial thoughts about it, but wanted to give you a chance to weigh in on it.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at the details. I know what's been reported. And I certainly probably would lean towards sharing in the disappointment, as Chris Paul and LeBron James have suggested. You know, it's just disappointing to have leadership in leagues like ours and the NBA and WNBA, to have people that would express any sort of misogyny, homophobia, you know, just marginalizing any group. It's not what our leagues stand for. And so it's disappointing. And, you know, given that the result of the investigation is what it is, and Adam Silver has handed down his decision, we all have to find a way to move forward. And we hope that Robert Sarver will be a far better leader than what he's been in the past.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Coach. All right.
Thank you. See you guys.
For Ka, and we'll be right back with you.